Reset.
All right.
It's just a warm-up.
We're going
Tear my
live.
butthole out.
Okay, how do I
Okay.
get them to shut up? Oh, we went live. Duh, that's how I get them to
Yeah,
shut
that'll do it.
up. Love you.
Go into their chat.
Shut the fuck up.
It explodes. Like
Wait, I can still
bunch of
hear them.
ooze goo kind of spreads
It'll
out.
it'll
Probably-
Still, it counts as one.
pick up in
Oh, okay.
whatever the Twitch delay is. Yeah.
I can't.
Remember the first time I heard that? I think it was some stream with Steph because it was like, does no one else hear this?
Yeah.
These disembodied voices?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Like,
the
are you
only
right,
person
Dan?
hearing it.
Oh my gosh, do
Having
you
a stroke. Yeah.
think that was what the party line stuff was that one night that we couldn't figure out?
I don't know.
But everyone could hear it.
Oh.
yeah, that was really weird. I kind of think that was a Zoom
That was
thing
just a
because
Zoom
it
ghost,
was just
yeah.
really strange.
Yeah, like everyone was on Zoom and we were just hearing someone else's Zoom
Like-
conversation.
Like Andrew, it
Wild.
sounded like sometimes like with telephones. I mean, you were around when landlines were a thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Wow.
You
I always get
never
nervous
know.
waiting for someone to answer that.
You
Like,
never know
please,
nowadays.
No.
But yeah, it sounded like that someone was like
Still a
talking,
millennial.
and it sounded like sometimes like sometimes like my old phone would pick up like voices from like another line being crossed. Like that's exactly what it sounded like one night for some weird reason. Anyways,
And all of us could
Hi,
hear
chat.
it. That was the weirdest thing. Hey, chat.
We're having a great
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Why don't you join us?
Yes. Do you remember landlines? Do you
for-
remember floppy
for-
disks?
For today's
Hang on.
Madbird Squawks,
Yeah. Do you remember the
Yeah.
Oriental Trading Company?
we talk
Mm,
we talk about
change
the
our-
technology of yesteryear.
Oh.
That is what all your questions were about, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
of course. Yeah. Oh man. Sorry guys. I'll be in chat in a minute. My computer decided to just randomly update for
Fun.
45 minutes.
nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna update the title here.
Oh yeah, you should do that.
Change the things around. Boop, 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 boop.
Oh, I'm jelly of all you people typing in chat that I cannot do that.
I know it's such a privilege.
I know, right?
Yes.
Oh, happy Wednesday, y'all.
Happy Wednesday.
Word. It's my Mac that updated, not my and I've been putting it off for like 2 weeks, you know.
Oh, it's like, you know what? F you.
Well,
I'm gonna update.
I keep saying remind me later, remind me tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, and then it just it finally just had enough of my shit and just did it.
That is too funny. I'm going to update our tweet while folks hop in. But it's lovely to see everybody.
Yeah.
I hope you're all excited for a all DM Madbird Squawks.
So fancy.
That's too much pressure, Tay.
I know.
Awesome. All right, let's get this tweet updated so we can do our thing about. Oh, I have to change the things too.
Let me do it.
No, I don't need Steam to open up right now. That's the worst part, is when everything, after you've updated, everything tries to open. I don't need you right now. I just need the internet. Just the internet. Come on, Twitch, so I can chat with these lovely people.
Yeah.
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 Oh. Yeah.
I'm so glad that you knew I was throwing down some usher.
I almost burst out too, but I.
Nice.
See, that's the kind of millennials
Oh, you have
we
that
are.
self-control thing? Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well,
Impulse control?
You're talking to someone who just ate like a cup and a half of cookie dough, so
Oh.
let's go easy on the self-control description.
Nice. There's that lull of docile post-deliciousness, and then
Yeah.
the whoa.
Well, it's more just the like, I should not have done that.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
bad.
It's awesome.
Oh man. Sorry, we're super exciting, y'all. We're just getting set up a little bit.
We just
How's
want
chat
to
doing?
chill
How's
and
everyone
hang with
doing?
you.
Yeah, how are you guys doing? Oh. One. Roth.
No,
I will sing
no.
anytime. Anytime, anywhere.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, I'll do what everyone else does. If we're gonna do this musical style, then
Oh my gosh, it'll be like, oh, what is that? Is it Jimmy Fallon that does the like all those like singing competitions on his show?
Yeah.
Where he's
He
like,
does. He does a bunch. Yeah.
yeah. Like where they're singing a song by, but in the style of a different somebody.
all right, guys, it's rock opera. That's
Rock opera.
that's the theme we're
Space
going
rock
with.
opera. Yeah.
Acapella rock
Oh
opera.
jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez, I don't. Me.
All right.
I'll get there.
Okay. All right. No, I saw that thing pop up, and I will go check. I happened to glance. And
Okay,
see your
cool.
message. Check.
In
Okay, I think we're all set up now. Fingers crossed.
Oh my gosh, yes. Half donut.
Was that in the thing you shared out with me, or a live thing?
It was a live thing.
We have everything switched over to AMA, and we're in talk shows and podcasts. Good hydrate before you get crunk. No, just
I
kidding.
know, right?
So, welcome everybody. Yes, Madbird Squawks, all DM session tonight. I'm going to pop our beautiful, eloquently worded, not really at all, tweet. It's a great way to help support us. If it's a pre-done tweet that you can edit any way you see fit. It's one click and it happens to whichever Twitter account you're signed in on. If you can, that'd be great. Helps us out a lot, gets us out there. You can change it any way you want. If not a problem. All right, let's get underway. I'm going to start, I think we can start with some questions from Discord because we've had so many. In fact, I will link our Discord in case you're here new. You can always ask questions live, but if you want to get those questions out of your head and into our hands right away during the week, you can always put them on Discord. We have a channel for it. All right, I've got way too many tabs open. There we go. On a small, tiny Chromebook. Okay, so first, let me just check in. DMs, how are you doing tonight? Vic, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm great. I'm fantastic. Had a fun night last night and excited for stuff that's happening on Sunday that you guys don't know about yet.
Nice. Oh, and on the heels of that, how are you, Steph? It's made
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Good. And how are you this fine evening, Andrew?
I think I'm okay.
So far, so good.
Woo! Come on, you two.
Yeah, it finally got all children asleep around 9:30.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's a win,
Yeah.
man. That's a win. Oh, wow, that's a strong drink. Oh. Good.
Well, hence
good.
the cookie dough.
Yes, precious cookie dough. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, viewers, for joining us here in such force tonight, right off the bat. Excellent. Let's get in to the nitty gritty. We'll start with a question from our very own Varoth. Which of you is most likely to lead the Buffy Once More with Feeling all singing episode? Oh, that's 2 hands for Vic. Oh,
I'll fight you on it.
Fingers,
I'm pointing to Vic.
Look, okay. Like, I love musicals. I love listening to musicals. I love singing in the private of my own room or car. But leading a musical and singing myself live, no. So it won't be me. Won't be me.
Nice.
I love it, but I was also like in show choir and in high school and college, and yeah.
You're uniquely qualified to
I
make
love
this
to sing.
happen.
Well,
Yeah.
I am a bard, so.
It's true.
Yep.
Excellent.
Tune in next time for Obsidian Scar, the musical.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Oh, it'll be
man.
epic. Yes.
Gotta take a drink if you don't speak in song. Oh my god, poor Steph.
Oh, snap. This has to happen. This
Oh.
must happen.
Mhm,
It must.
Next time we
Especially-
do like a big fundraiser thing, we'll do it.
And you can't tell them when it's
Mhm,
coming
mhm.
either.
Mm-mm. No.
Mhm.
No. You
Oh, that'd be
just
amazing. Yeah.
it goes live and you just start singing the introduction.
Here's the recap. Yeah. Stop collaborating. Okay. A question from Saxel and Emeracina to all. Who's your favorite NPC to play? Let me look at how we are on the stream here. Okay, I'll go with Vic first. Who's your favorite NPC to play, Vic? Because it looks like you're busy.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to, keep up this little hype train, but my computer's just being fucking slow.
Oh, hype train!
Yeah.
It started like
man.
a couple of minutes
That's
ago.
awesome!
Yes. So we're mid
That's,
hype train.
that's what I get for reading this doc and not paying attention.
Yeah, I
My
know,
bad.
but
I'm
my
so sorry.
computer's just going so slow that I wasn't. Okay, I'm back. Oh, who's my favorite
NPC?
You guys have really only revisited a couple, so it's I'd say not Commander Vari because you guys can't get her name right.
Commander very hot.
Very
yeah.
hot, yeah. I'd probably say Clara. She's, she has a fun affect to her voice and is an interesting character, and you guys have visited her several times, so yeah.
Little squeaky boy. Yeah. But there's
she's
something
a
going on.
halfling.
She was all super ninja. Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry I can't
Right.
make you that sandwich.
What? I'm just kidding.
What? Get the fuck out of my store, thank you.
Right? Yeah. Look, I don't want to kill you.
I don't want to kill you, but I will.
All right. Then I can make those sandwiches. Steph, who's your favorite NPC to play?
Hmm.
Then I'll tell you my
haven't we
guess if
killed,
I'm wrong.
Steph?
Yeah.
What?
Said, who haven't we killed, Steph?
Hopefully no one from
He has
there.
wiped out a lot of people. He wiped out a lot of people. I would say it's kind of a tie for me. I really enjoyed, even though you guys were only there briefly for the Forsaken. You got Z, the wizard that you guys ran into right
Yeah.
outside of Bairn, and also hopefully he made it okay. And also Rinka. I really enjoy.
You did.
I really enjoy playing Rinka.
Nice. That was going to be my guess. I was like,
I really, yeah. I really like playing that kind of, is she sinister or is she not?
Right?
So,
Very calculating. I do love the way you play NPCs. It's very immersive. I fall into it.
thank
Like,
you.
okay, oh yeah, I'm definitely talking expressive. Yeah, of course. Thank you. Nice. All right. Oh, thank you, Victoria. Yeah. Okay, and Andrew, your favorite NPC?
Oh, I have whole 2 sessions to pick from.
Catalog.
Well, I think the one NPC that I've gotten to actually play multiple times is the deity that Frank's character worships, the unknown god. Who every time Vaughn talks to them, they talk in a different voice. So
Nice.
this last episode, I believe it was on the squeakier side.
yes, it was. Mhm.
That'll be oscillating a lot.
Oh, interesting.
But if I had to pick like an actual NPC, I suppose it would be. I really liked playing Vala. She was the Goliath masseuse at the spa
yes.
Right.
in the inn that
Uh-huh.
they stayed in. That was really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. That's amazing. Oh, I guess since it was to all, I guess I'll throw out an answer.
Yes.
Oh, geez, favorite? I don't know. It's shifted. It's shifted back and forth. I do generally like playing Sterling Sam because she kind of always has the answers but doles them out as she needs to. I really like playing Miranda the Tout in the City Brass. And I'm sorry, that started in the in Sigil the City Doors and then into the City Brass. She was really, really fun. Geez, who else do I like as an NPC? Oh, there's so many. I got to start thinking across campaigns too. Oh no, I know the answer. The answer for sure is Tassos. Yeah. It's just so fun to drop into Tassos, and he was an unexpected NPC, like unexpected to become a big deal. So I have the most fun with Tassos for sure. That's my final answer. All right, neat.
Roth commented in chat. He was like, "Did Madbird say Miranda, the NPC that kept forgetting that we were even there over and over and over?"
yeah. Where's Miranda? It's the end of the fight. Where's happened? Oh, I was right here. I'm so sorry. I was looking out this window. Yes, that's definitely the same one. All right, let me pull another one from Discord here before I grab one or two from the chat. So if you have any questions you haven't asked in chat yet, start spooling them up here. All right, Danny, to all. What other systems would you like to run a game in, and would you use Astralanor, the Astralanor setting for them? Let's go in reverse this time. We'll start with Andrew.
Oh God, you shouldn't have done that. Let me pull up the sticky note that I wrote in response to this earlier. I have way too many campaigns in construction. I'd love to run a game of Masks, which is a superhero powered by the apocalypse game. So good. Dungeon World, which is also powered by the apocalypse. Think of it like a super streamlined version of D&D. Monster of the Week, which is another powered by the apocalypse. Think like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Nice.
So good. There's even a chosen class that you can be. You can be Buffy. And then I'm a huge fan of Numenera and the Cypher system. Numenera itself is a sci-fantasy. Other genres that I want to do in the Cypher system: steampunk, sci-fi, World War II era spy thriller, horror, fairy tale. I want to do an Invisible Sun campaign. If you all heard of Invisible Sun, it's a surrealist fantasy. And then I do want to run one other D&D campaign really bad. It's a cooking-focused adventure, because I really like stretching D&D about as far as it can go narratively. And if something's centered wholly around cooking and like cooking competitions and stuff like that would be amazing.
That's very cool. All right. And Steph, let me know if you need the question reread or anything.
No. I would say I don't have quite that much experience with other systems. Unfortunately, it's just how things have played out. I think that I would really like to sometime experience a Vampire the Masquerade campaign.
Yes.
And I'm guessing, was the question like running, right? This question was about running, not playing.
Yes, running.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, so that would be fine. That would be yeah. Also, like, I know I've said this before, I think somewhere on this like channel, but like I have a couple that I want to try out. Like I have a Dragon Age source book for a Dragon Age campaign, which I think would be really cool. And then I also have this there's a campaign that was written by this like accountant who like, and he has several books to go along with it, but it's called Ragnarok, and it's a Norse mythology based campaign. Some of the extra source books you can buy for it like add in like fairies and other things that aren't quite Norse mythology but more just high fantasy. But it like you can use dice, but they it strongly recommends instead of dice to use runes, to either make your own runes or you can buy runes, and to draw runes instead of rolling dice. And like I looked online for like videos and I can't find like any, like there's no videos out there for it. And so I think it'd be a very interesting system. I'd still have to read through the book, but I think that's like I think that's one of my top ones actually, to try something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Andrew. Tag that in.
Can I go? It's okay.
Yeah, tag it in. Yeah.
I'd love to run a game with adults for this game called No Thank You Evil, which is a role-play game designed for children. It is.
And I'm back in.
Brilliant.
Oh, awesome.
Nice. Okay. And Vic, how about you?
Oh, man. Okay, so when Danny asked this question, I didn't have to make a list because I have a list that I've been sending Dan of all the systems that I want to run on the channel. So let me read them to you very quickly. So number 1, Star Trek Adventures. I've been dying to run it. I have the book. I really want to run it, and it looks fantastic. I love Call of Cthulhu. I would love to run one of those games. There's one that I kickstarted called Good Society. It's a Jane Austen RPG, which I'm very excited about.
Interesting.
It's gonna be yeah. It is. It's very much like you have your outer role, you have like a secret role, you have like different connections to different people. It's a lot of RP, obviously. I have the Dungeons and Doggos D&D supplement where you all play like dogs, and it comes with little minis, and it looks so much fun. The big one that I really want to run when it finally comes out, it was kickstarted about 1.5 years ago, 2 years, and he's finishing writing it now. It's called Cartel. It's a Mexican narcos fiction RPG, which looks amazing. I mean, it's just fantastic. So I'm so excited. What else? The Stars Are Fire. That one's a near future sci-fi RPG.
Cypher System.
Yeah, Cyberpunk Red. Heart.
I'll send you a copy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so excited. The Heart, which is the city beneath Spire. So if you're familiar with that one's interesting. There's like a Haunted West one that I'm really interested in. It's like a historical Weird West. A Liberté. It's an RPG of lost children and like a I guess how would you? It's like if the French Revolution just kind of sort of kept going. But in sort of like this dystopian sort of way, and all of you play children that are like lost in this world. Yeah.
City of Lost Children.
Yes. There's a bunch of them that actually don't need DMs that I want to play. And then tagging on to your one for kids that's a lot of fun for adults. If you've never played Cloud Dungeons, you should absolutely do it. It is an RPG that runs you through a story that you make decisions on, but the whole point of it is that you're actually crafting while you do it. Like you have your character and you color it in, and then you like craft as you make decisions in the world. And I got to beta test it, and I think I've had more fun running with adults because adults with crafts goes everywhere, but that one in particular, lots of fun.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
For
I have
real?
more, but I'm going to keep it to that list.
Awesome. Whew, I don't know. For myself, I think I would love to do the Vampire Masquerade because I've seen pips of it here and there, and it seemed cool. I haven't seen enough to understand the whole system. The one that I've seen the system really like, I just don't have enough of the genre understood or read or experienced in my head to do it successfully as a DM, would be Cyberpunk 2020. I really want to do it. I just need to do more reading, more watching, and get the futuristic cyberpunk in my head, so I'm not doing D&D and I'm cyberpunk or attempting that. It wouldn't really work, I guess, with the system, but I'd definitely love to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about the Norse mythology one. I'm like, I would have to do a lot of like reading and stuff on Norse mythology to run it.
Yeah. I really want to play in that cyberpunk one because Deontay and Emilio and I got to test run the red system, I think. I can't even remember what it was at PAX, but the DM was terrible. So it was sort of like, I could tell that it was a DM, so yeah. I'm not blaming the the game at all.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, mental note made. Yes. All right. Let's see. That was Danny. So Veroth to all. If you were to do a holiday-themed episode with one of your games, which holiday would you choose? We'll start with Steph.
So what was the question again? I'm sorry.
If you were to do a holiday-themed episode with one of your games, which holiday would you choose and why?
With one of my games?
Yeah.
So with Forsaken. Well, let's see. I think probably... I think maybe a Halloween one would be fun to like make it extra scary. Have you guys find like a haunted house or something and just scare the bejesus out of you? Absolutely. And I'm not saying that that's not going to. Yeah, so I think that would be like Valentine's Day wouldn't really work, even though I think that would be fun if you had like, but that would just be like Silver and Jocelyn, and that's it.
Right.
I mean, unless something else develops.
But that would be so cool. Just like a whole episode where everyone's trying to help Silver and Jocelyn have a perfect date.
That's true. We could go all like 90s cartoon, with it, and like just make it about like trying to get these two to go on a date or something.
Right. And things keep going
the rest
wrong.
of us are stalking them the whole time and have to like intervene to like keep things going well.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I love that.
Man. Yeah, so that's fine.
All right, neat. Yeah. Andrew, how about you?
Honestly, I think the only one that really works for Tower of Dreams is Christmas. Because everyone would be like, make stuff and like give it to each other.
That's true. Some kind of giving holiday.
Do like a Secret Santa episode or something like that.
The true meaning of Christmas.
Nice. Actually, a Halloween episode would be pretty fun because, well, nothing's been revealed yet, so.
Keep going.
That's awesome. Thank you, man. All right, I like that. How about you, Vic?
Sorry, Danny Phantom makes a good point in chat that Valentine's Day is on a Sunday next year. As much, I love me a good Halloween episode. Valentine's Day would so be on point for us. But I think, well, I mean, it's a little spoilery, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. There's definitely going to be, depending on where you guys are in the world, there was going to be some sort of May Day Easter fertility festival that you guys are going to run into at some point. It's like a big deal there. But the other one is the instant that I read that question, I was like, oh my gosh, I want a gay pride episode. I want want a big old happy gay pride episode. So
that'd be awesome.
I know,
really
especially
cool.
since we're like not getting gay pride, next month because everyone's
Yeah.
gonna stay in.
Seriously.
And like, so maybe we
Make
should
it
do
happen.
it anyway. Yeah, writing it
You
down.
should.
Absolutely.
You guys will be in the middle of the mountain, sludging your way through, and then
A parade
there's like
comes
a
through.
parade.
Yes,
It's Sioux City and Isles. If it happens anywhere in Asper Lenore,
Beautiful.
it happens in
Yeah.
Sioux City and Isles.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
it.
Oh, yes. Woo!
I could actually
All
pull
right.
that off in Tower of Dreams pretty easily.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, right? Yeah. Maybe we can do it. Yeah. Maybe we can have a little chat. See if we can muster up since you're right. Everything's going to be canceled next month.
Yeah. I'm so bummed. Pride's like my
for
favorite
real.
holiday.
Yeah.
Put it in our hearts.
It's pretty fun.
I can't believe it's already been a year. We're going to the one in Winchester here. Anyway, okay. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. It's been I can't believe it's been a year already.
Dan's waxing nostalgic.
In a rocking chair over here. Well, you see.
Age is showing.
Let's see. For holidays, I think that I would definitely like a winter's one. Just sort of have some of the holiday vibe in there, but also just a celebration of snow and fun. and the whole season, I think, would be a blast. I think also summer, like a Japanese summer festival, I think would be another type of really fun one I'd like to do.
Someone mentioned since we have a meal like every episode that Thanksgiving would be perfect for Stormfall.
Oh yeah.
This is a really good point. Thanksgiving is my second favorite holiday personally, but that's such a good point. It's always food. It is a food-centric campaign.
It really is. It really is.
All right. So Frank asks to all. Okay. So I was gonna go for a Frank impression, but I can't. Sorry, Frank. I'm not really good at that. Okay. Since we all know PCs can frustrate you by missing stop signs, where to go signs, and the like, but were there times when your PCs surprised you? It asked, thought of something that was like, wow, never thought of that.
Oh.
We'll start with Steph since you're the first.
No, I know. That's what I'm thinking of. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know that it's probably there. I just have to think about it. Does anyone have one that they have off the top of their head?
Only from like a past campaign that I've done. But yeah, I've had players surprise me before DMing. It's I think it's some of the better moments of role plays when players are like, can we do this? It's like, how did you think of that? Let me look at the book. How do we even make that happen? And then it actually working out is one of the cooler things.
Yeah. I think for me, it's hard to remember them because in the moment I'm like, oh shit. Like I'm trying to like, yeah, I mean, that'll work. So, well, what's going to happen when they do that? Like, oh, for sure, trying to teleport, Kier's Lament trying to teleport through the Omega Curtain. Holy crap. Panic attack on my side. Yeah. NPC's like, what up? Maybe that's a bad idea.
And we're like, fuck you, NPC. We do what we want. We're the evil campaign.
Right. Nice. Yep. And it's over the years, I've, thankfully, used to be like, no, the NPCs insist. But, I've gotten like, okay, go ahead. No, we'll just, it'll be fun. Because it does really turn into some of the most fun moments. And it really did. They tried to, they vamped, they hit the Omega Curtain, plopped into the ocean. And Thaxel accepted everybody into her mouth, as she worded it.
Wow.
No, she took them into her mouth. She took us into her mouth. Yeah.
Everyone into her mouth. As as a druid, shifted into this huge, probably sperm whale. Yeah. And went and swallowed everyone up. Everyone started drowning because there's these whirlpools and currents and stuff. Oh my gosh. And this huge ancient creature huge, massive, but you couldn't take it all in with your eyes, was chasing them, and then she brought him onto the island, turned into an eagle, and people were trying to fly, and they slammed down into a cave and put up a wall of force to keep the tidal wave from the monster from destroying them. And that's also the time that Kier's Lament briefly visited the Obsidian Isles.
Oh, yeah.
So, worked out well. Yeah. That's my answer. Steph, back to you.
Nice. I guess the one thing that I don't have any there are a couple of things. One of them is just kind of, I think, because I was it was at the beginning and I was, inexperienced, but with episode 1 when, and this is for, of course, the Forsaken, because I I was stressed that I had the entire below the floating city of Bairn planned out. I had things that were going to be happening there, NPCs to meet, things were going to happen in the city, because I was like, I think for sure they're going to go into this under part city of Bairn because they may think that Regina is up on the floating part. I thought for sure. And I think even Alec also gave everyone oh, well, maybe the Pact, and this is kind of in the direction that they're located. But then also that she went to talk to the city council in Bairn. And I think I tried to stress that above the Pact involvement. But it didn't quite get through and then you guys were talking like after the dinner with Alec, and we're talking to each other, and we're like, yeah, let's just go over there tonight. And I had not even thought about like you guys would just go straight there and not go anywhere else, like to the Pact. And I was like, oh, okay, well, so I think I had to like write a few things like off the like right there on the fly, and I just didn't think about it. And you guys like all of you were like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like we'll sneak in. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. That, and also that happened around the same time though, was Silver shooting the person in the cage. That surprised me, and I honestly had to roll to see if they would like imprison Silver or kill her. And thankfully the roll was in Silver's favor. Yeah, that was rough, because I think I was doing it like in my head. I was like, okay, if it's in the middle, they're going to imprison her. If it's like this on this scale, either way, low or high, I don't remember which one it was, they will just shoot her. And if it's the other one, and if they would have shot her, then that probably would have been like she would have been at least unconscious, because you guys were level 1 and these people were more than level 1. So yeah, that was really surprising, and I thought I was like, oh, are we going to lose a character in session 1 or session 2? It might have been, yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, that was a legitimately worrying moment. Gosh. I was like, all these people are going to kill us.
Yeah.
I remember that heart drop for a moment. Like, whoa, you do what? What happened? What?
I shoot him with my crossbow.
I think watching back, you can definitely see like the surprise on my face of like, oh, like, and panic probably. I'm like, oh no.
Nice. I watch everybody to do. How about you, Vic?
I think I'm like you, that I sort of like black out in the moment, and then come out the other side, and I'm like, what did I just say was okay to do? You know,
to review that.
Yeah. I mean, to the point of Frank's question, were there times when your PC surprised you? Yes. I mean, that's like that's every 10 minutes with you guys. Clearly, I'm just like a terrible DM that can't anticipate my players' movements, you know. Although,
nice.
I'll say you guys are a little bit erratic, but yeah. Perhaps. I mean, you know, either that or you guys just haven't been clever enough to, you know, think of anything.
It could go either way.
Yeah.
It's a fine line.
You expect us to be erratic.
Yeah.
It's a very fine line.
Sensible thing.
Yeah. It's that circle where you're like coming around. Yeah.
Oh, we better reel it in now. All right. Next question. Faxel to all. What motivated you to become a DM? And any advice for us players who are thinking about one day assuming that role? I'd actually like to sneak that one if I may. D&D, always wanted to play growing up. No one around, nothing. Watched the first episode of Critical Role. In fact, I'm in chat. It's me. And it's just saved on the screen thing.
Is that what you said?
Wow.
That's me. It's like, oh. No, I was asking something. I forgot. But I was like, oh, right. So, I mean, they're all playing in the studio, but let me go look at this again. Right? You know, I'm an adult now. Let's look. Found Roll. I was talking to Matt Abernathy at the time, who was coordinating a bunch of Roll20 games. And in fact, my very, very first game, that was my first game playing after he got me set up in one. And that's where I met Veroth. We played in the same campaign. About, what was it, 2 or 3 episodes, and then the DM bounced. And that was my experience over the next, 2.5 months. Do all the work, build a character, get a campaign. DM's there for one or 2 sessions and out. And after the 3rd time that happened, I was like, F this noise. I really want to play. I'm not getting my fix. I'll just DM. So I got went through the DMG, everything else. But anyway, advice for any players who are thinking about that one day: one-shots. One-shots where you don't, timing sucks for one-shots. So that cut yourself some slack with that if it runs long or short. But doing one-shots gives you the character building, gives you all the stuff, and it really gives you a good feel for start to finish and everything else, and then go from there would be my suggestion. Just run some one-shots and have fun. Have fun with it. Let your players know. Set the expectations of new, this and that. You get good players, they're gonna be like, yeah, it's cool. We're here, and we're good. But if any of you have anything you want to take up with that, I'm so sorry. I was just extra excited by that question.
Yeah.
Any of you have any? What are your takes?
Well, I'll say that the first time I DM'd, I did it because the person who encouraged me to give D&D another try, because if anyone knows, I had some false starts that, almost turned me away from the hobby. But she finally encouraged me to do it, and then, she's like, I think I want to play. She'd never played before. She's like, you should just do it. So I DM'd for her. But for Dan, I just wanted to, Dan, was giving me the sob story about how he didn't get to play in a real campaign and that he really wanted to play in one. And I was like, oh gosh, I guess I'll DM so that he can play in something. So. Right. Right. So that's how I started DMing here. And then what was the other half of it? Advice.
Yeah,
for anyone considering it. Players considering.
Take everything that you read on the internet with a grain of salt, and there's a lot of information out there talking about like how much you need to prep before before specific episodes now I'm calling them episodes, sessions, or even before you even start the campaign. I mean, if you really enjoy that, absolutely do it, but half of it's going to go out the window, so don't you don't have to do that much. Yeah.
That's a truth. Neat. All right. Steph or Andrew, have any take you want to add? Excuse me.
I guess for me, I decided to, it was kind of I never thought about DMing, of course, before Stormfall, because Stormfall was my first long campaign experience.
Oh, nice.
Before that, I had maybe played one time, just for one session before it fell apart. So yeah, I think just once I started getting into it, and once I started getting into the Stormfall campaign, I started realizing that it was kind of when I realized that when I was because I started watching Critical Role, of course, around when it started, and or at least on Geek and Sundry, and I kind of realized that was kind of oh my gosh, I do this my entire life. I've been a story maker, I make up stories, or and so I think it just kind of, when I was in the Stormfall campaign, I just kind of was I think I could DM. I think I would enjoy that. I like creating worlds, and creating stories. So yeah, and then around the time that I was thinking about it, my mom, who is now 67, at the time was 66, was kind of I would tell her about Stormfall and about the other campaigns I was in, and she would every week I would tell her what we did, and she always sounded very interested and very excited about it. And then she would kind of make suggestions, not suggestions, but kind of make comments of oh, I wish I could find I wish I could play with people that I don't I think I would enjoy it, but I don't know about she was I don't know about how to find people online, and and I also knew that she had very conservative sensibilities, and so I was okay, well, I don't think that I know of anyone that would be that she would feel comfortable in. So I created one for her, and my friend joined in. So that was kind of my first experience DMing, honestly. So that was kind of the catapult into getting me thinking about doing it for Mad Bird specifically.
Nice. Yay.
Yeah, I guess.
So glad you did.
I guess, thank you. I guess any advice would be, I don't know, just try it. I guess Dan has a suggestion with one shots. That's not the route that I took, and you don't have to take that route if you just don't think that you could, if you think that you only, because I think for me, like it's a lot more difficult for me to think like in just 3-hour terms than it is for like a big story. And so writing a one shot for me, I know myself well enough that that would be more difficult for me than like thinking about a larger campaign, weirdly enough. But yeah, if you want to do it, just I don't know, I'm sure that you could find people because everyone's always looking for a game. I mean, there's always people out there looking for games to play in. You just can't find DMs for them. So
Right.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
yeah.
So true. And that's how I became a DM.
Yeah.
Filling that niche.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I started playing D&D for the first time 10 years ago, and started DMing a little later that year. My roommates in college and I just passed the torch around, basically.
Nice. Okay.
Series of mid-length campaign. Hey, for off, not cool.
Oh, so here's what's gonna happen.
I was 20.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I don't know. I fell in love with D&D, and I've seen a couple of you, Danny, say that you tried it and you weren't very good. We all weren't very good.
You're probably better than you thought you were,
right,
honestly.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's one of those things you kind of muddle through trying to imitate other people until you kind of find your own rhythm and your own style. And if you're one of those people who already kind of knows yourself well enough to come into a game like that, like Steph, then it's that's a blessing. And yeah, every episode you do, you get better. Advice for new players, though, for players that want to become DMs would be plan as much as you feel is necessary, and be ready to use maybe none of it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I spent. There's a reason I'm doing Tower of Dreams the way that I'm doing it, where I put all of my planning effort into creating a world or a setting that's interactive, to where I can constantly pull in. I have enough NPCs to pull from that I should be good for five episodes.
Okay.
Hopefully more than that.
Wow.
Don't go through all three that quickly. But put all your if you're a strategic person who kind of wants to create a flow and everything, pour all that energy into the setting and just set your players loose in it, because that's what they're going to do anyway. Is they're going to follow what they find interesting, and you're going to make some sort of a comment. Like I was doing a one shot just earlier this week with some friends, and I made some comment like the NPC's like, well, yeah, I got to go take care of my dog, so. And that was supposed to be the conversation ender, and then one of the players was like, "Can we meet your dog? What's your dog's name? What breed is it? Can I pet it?" And it's just like, oh God, what are you doing?
Illnesses.
Yeah. And the second thing I would say though is you are not the storyteller by yourself. D&D is a collaborative storytelling thing. The only thing you're in charge of is the setting. That's the only thing you can have control over, because you for certain do not have control over your players. And the more control you try to exert over them, the more unhappy they're going to be with the game.
Oh yeah.
So.
For sure.
When I very, very first started DMing, so I come from writing acting background, and I'm like, oh sweet, I've got the first few episodes all written up, and doing this, you're going here, yeah.
Yep.
And I felt that it's a visceral pushback, and then realized like, okay, if I was a player, would I want? I mean, the whole idea is collaborative storytelling, and you get to choose what you do, impact the world around you, just like you would in real life. So when you're like, oh no, you don't want to go down that door. Oh, it's slammed shut and it's magically locked. Like, no,
right.
No.
I mean, this is why all of the shows on this channel are so good, is because the players are just as involved in the storytelling as the DMs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes the most interesting sessions can be when all the plans go out the window. So.
Yeah. Or when I completely check out. You all take over.
We love it. Yeah, I know. When your DM, when you ask your DM, can I do this? And they turn to you and say, I don't care. I'm not in charge of this episode anymore, and walk away.
That's Victoria.
Here's the dice.
Yeah.
Here's the rules. Yeah. Peace.
Yeah. Like, I'm just watching now. I'm just running the running the tech at this point. Well, yeah, that session was a little out of control.
Oh, awesome. All right, let me see. All right, no, if I'll motivate you. Ooh, okay, this is another good one from Taxel. Did I ask this already?
Mm-mm.
No, I don't think so.
Nope.
Okay, it was tan, so I thought I might have. Sorry.
No.
Okay.
No, Andrew just sort of segued it into his without realizing it.
Oh, like the what are you most proud of? Okay, gotcha. All right. Let's see. So to Dan, how long did it take you to create Astralanora? Oh my gosh.
But don't skip our other one.
The what are you most proud of?
Mm-hmm. You didn't actually ask that.
Okay, it's highlighted in tan. I'm so confused. I thought that meant I already asked it.
I thought you were looking at it in Discord.
Sorry.
I thought you specifically asked me to
makes sense now. Yep. Makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sorry.
That means I already sent it to you.
Waka. Yeah. Cool. Okay, gotcha. All right. Let's see. Yes, a beautiful question from Saxon to all. What are you most proud about when it comes to the setting you created for your players? Let's start with Andrew, since you're the freshest campaign.
Well, I mean, I've kind of already said it, but this idea that I've worked really hard to create a setting where there is a story, but it's always going to be there. And there's a lot of other things that are interesting in the setting too, that have nothing to do with the larger story, but might give little hints, or might not. Might just get them some cool stuff or some good crafting materials. I don't know. So, everything that happens in an adventure doesn't have to be moving people closer to the resolution of the main plot. Because right, Steph?
Thank goodness.
Because the number one thing that's important isn't that the story you want to tell gets told, but that the story you want to tell together, the emergent story that's being told by the players and the DM, it comes through. So I think I've created a setting that's good for that. We'll find out, I guess. Only 2 sessions in.
All right. And Steph, how about you?
Was it proudest moment as a DM? Is that what?
It's like what part of your world that you created? Let's see. What are you most proud about when it comes to the setting you created for your players? So more like about the setting. I'm gonna call hands on shoulders. Just kidding. You feel like
hands on shoulders?
Son of a bitch. And you disappear. Yeah. Bam. Like, oh.
I go. Setting. Gosh, I don't know.
You should be proud of all of it because it's awesome.
Seriously, you have a freaking amazing setting.
Yeah.
Why'd you just start listing things?
Thanks. I guess like
I like session 1 through whatever we're on now.
I guess one thing that I really
shaky, but no. I don't know.
I guess one thing that I really try to do, or a couple of things, is that, and whether, I guess if I succeed at this, then it's proud for me as far as like setting goes. It's a proud for me. It's a pride moment. Anyways, is I try to have the setting very like, I try to keep the world very, I guess, alive, in that things are still happening as you're, as the people are, as adventurers are, going about their journey. And things are happening in time. Like, for instance, I guess, if they would have, I since it's kind of already assumed, if my characters would have went to or found a way to the floating city of Bern earlier in the campaign, they might have found Regina alive. That was my that was my actual plan.
Nice.
But since they took quite a few days to get there, it only made sense that in that time that Regina would have been would have possibly already been used up and burned.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So
very interesting.
So I try to do that, and I try to create the world very interactive. Like, I try not to railroad them. I try to give them options as to what they want to explore. And I also like to, I guess one thing that I kind of noticed about myself, this is interesting, in that, like, after I started DMing and started like getting set into the Forsaken, was that I realized that I like to kind of describe how things look, like when they walk into a room or into a house. Like, I like describing their surroundings and the setting, rather than just being like, oh, you walk into a bar and there are some tables. Like, I like being like, oh, well, this is how it's decorated. There are some windows around the top of the thing. And it might be, I guess the line is to try to walk is not giving too much information to where you're just describing everything, but just giving them key points to make it seem more real for them, is something that I guess I try to do. And if I do it, then I find pride in that.
Nice.
That was awesome. A roundabout way of saying that, but yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love it. It definitely does feel very real in regards to stakes, and I do. I like that as a player in that campaign. Okay. Yeah, it's like I have to actually worry. Like, okay, are we gonna die? Is this person gonna die? Are we gonna get there in time? Yeah.
Will the city crumble out from under me? It's fine.
Yeah, I should have asked those questions. What impact will this have on this? Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Let's see. All right, Steph, and we got Andrew. So Vic.
Oh, well, when I saw it, my answer was very close to Andrew's, where, I created a world where, I like creating a world where it's like, I know the big things that are happening in the world, and I've got my little charts back here, and things are happening, whether or not the players are actually a part of it, right? And they might see that it's happening as they walk by, or they might interact with it. And for me, that's that's how I like to really give them a sandbox, sort of world. But since that was already sort of said, I think probably just and I'm probably a more casual DM than a lot of people. Not necessarily more than you guys, but in a way that, like, I don't mind things like anachronistic things in my obviously, I mean, or else we wouldn't have to-go cups and aviator sunglasses and a ye old Starbucks that you guys keep going to, but but it makes the game fun for this particular group of people with this particular group of PCs. So I just I guess it's more of me as a DM, but I'm just glad that I'm able to create that world that you guys can fuck around in. So
nice.
Yeah,
it is really fun. I
Literally.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah,
on occasion.
On occasion.
Yeah, heaven forbid you make
us. I think so well. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it suits us as characters in your campaign so well because we like that mix of the silly and those things that are just a little bit outside of what might normally be in a stricter like strict setting. Like, no, that's not invented. Breakfast sandwiches, things like that, and the glasses. Where would we be? Yeah, without Jules flipping his aviator glasses, like we lose it.
Or Lazar's walking around with her to-go cup everywhere. I mean,
right? And yet we're still in a fantasy setting and dealing with these huge, things big and small, and we love it. So I think,
there's a pro tip for you. Don't make anything precious in your world.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
Dan, what's your answer?
Yeah, gosh. I'm going to tie it in with the next question. How long did it take to create Astralanor? So Astralanor started about 5 years ago. I guess a little longer, maybe goes to 5.5. With a campaign that streamed for 2.5 years, and while it ended in kind of a poopy manner with some toxicity and stuff. It was really fun as a DM experience building that world, but by far, when I was able to reset from that and find just some really solid good people for the Stormfall crew, how on earth I got so many amazing people. I was looking like, okay, my bar is like up a little higher. Like I just want some solid folks that aren't bogus. And I got these wonderful, amazing people. I was talking to Andrew about this earlier, Jay, like, Steph with all her creativity and her kindness, and Broth is like a saint among us. And Ed has like all the skills in the world for everything. Oh, hey, how's this? Oh yeah, I happen to be in a group where we prepare super fancy food that's extra delicious every week. I'm like, what? You do all these amazing things? Melissa, all the people we've had here in Stormfall has just been phenomenal. So that so inspired me. Proudest thing, moving from Stormfall and then adding Kira's Lament, of course, over then building this world out into these different quadrants and creating a story for the world recently in the past year, like what's going on with the Mega Curtains and all this other stuff, these 4 quadrants. Out of all that, I think my favorite, most proud moment is the crossovers. Being able to take 2 disparate campaigns, All Evil, Stormfall, separate parts of the world and mingle them. This pure sense of joy and excitement I get and got doing those things. It makes me so proud that we made it work. Went in, had things, big reveals for everybody, crazy things happen, and everyone kind of goes their separate ways, but stays touching back again, and the other 2, they're going, oh, yeah, that's my proudest moment. Yep.
Wonderful.
Let's see. All right, Muroth has a question to all. If willing, can you talk about any anxiety you felt in DMing on stream and how you approached it? So, really good question for it. Sanctimonious. Steph, I'm gonna call on you again. Just because of the face you were making when I looked up.
I guess.
It caught my attention. I was like, aha.
I guess my anxieties didn't really come from like being on stream, because I had streamed myself before and had already been in like a 1.5 years of Stormfall by that time, or close to 2 years. But my anxiety came more from just not knowing what I was like, like getting into that first session and then just completely like, failing at things. I was really nervous for the first session. After the first session, I don't think it was hardly there at all. Nice. But for that first session, I was very nervous and very anxious about just not being, you're never prepared enough and you don't need to be prepared, but that was just my thought of like, oh, what if I can't improv, if they go off scale, if I can't improv with them, what if I can't make it the experience they want? What if I'm just, what if I start in this and I just realize that it's not really what I like doing? But yeah, like I think the players I had helped that a lot. Like, helped not for it not to be so bad. and to help kind of ease my worries. And I was a lot more confident by the end of the episode than I was the beginning of the episode. So yeah, my anxieties came more from that than like from being on stream or on camera.
Did you have anything that you found helped you with that, or helped you process it as you were experiencing it? Was it just like blinders on?
I think just experiencing it. I think just like doing it and then getting to the end of the session and being like, and everyone seeming to have a good time. I was like, oh, so I guess that's one thing, that like if you're a player in a campaign and you enjoy what your DM is doing for you and the world that they've created and like the session, thank them and let them know, because I think that means a lot more than what you would assume.
Yeah, for sure. Vic, how about you?
I would say to Steph's point, you know, having played in Kiers for a little bit before you know, I started DMing, that certainly helped take some of the very specific nerves off. I think that streaming as a DM, that anxiety is heightened, you know, that you're not going to be able to do the things. On top of not being able to do it just for a private group, then you're also entertaining other people. It's funny, despite being a very outgoing person, I still feel a lot of anxiety when I'm performing and speaking in public, and it just never goes away, and I just have to go through it. And I think the biggest thing for me that is continuing, because it does get, as Steph said, it does get a lot better, you know, you get into practice and everything, is that anyone who knows me off stream is, I'm a little bit more of an extreme version of myself. Sometimes I'm worried that it's probably the reason that I'm so like straight-faced as a DM, is, you know, I don't want to get too myself and derail stuff. You know, I'm sure everyone has seen sometimes the players are laughing at seemingly nothing, and it's usually because I jumped into Zoom chat and said something that is so inappropriate that the internet cannot see it, you know. So there's a little bit of anxiety that, you know, like on occasion that I'm going to slip and forget that I'm on the internet and say something. But and in terms of what to do if you have that anxiety, I would say just ignore, to Dan's point, put your blinders on. It's one of the reasons that I'm not as engaged in chat. One, because I'm having to make shit up so much on the fly with these people because, you know, they decided to do a U-turn and I can't anticipate it. But the other thing is it's one more thing to remind you that you're not just playing D&D. So just ignore chat, man. I love you. I love chat so much. I love you. And I love reading it as I'm rewatching, taking my notes. But in the moment, I'm like,
I can't either.
Players only.
Either.
Yeah.
How about you, Andrew?
Ooh, well, 2020 has been my first experience with streaming versus a player and The Forsaken. And then, this is my first time streaming as a DM. So, I'll go with what Vic said. It's just ignore it.
Just ignore it, man.
Just playing D&D with some people that you know, kind of over a video chat. I mean, I've tried to engage with the chat a little bit, but you just got to keep going.
I have a bit of a different experience. I can't engage. I try to engage with chat, but then I get like, what'd you say? What player in my game what were you just saying? The NPC I'm playing? Because I can't multitask, and not at all. So I get like a slap on the wrist. Okay, let me get back in. Sorry, I'm so tired. But I am a born ham, and so all this is like, yes, feed me. So I love it all. Give me the attention. I need so much, and this household, as much attention as I get, cannot sate the mighty need I have. So this is amazing. That being said, I think I feel some anxiety sometimes in my prep because, I mean, of course, I think everyone knows. Anyone that does surprise information about me. A, I have a terrible memory. B, I things are very erratic in my day-to-day, and so it's difficult for me to manage my time because things get interrupted. I have 4 kids here at the house, from 8 up to 16 and a half. And I'm the one that's home. I work in the health field. I do IT work, and I do all these other things. But I'm here most of the day while my wife is out working and stuff. She's a therapist, and so she works like all crazy hours and stuff. So trying to get anything done here is a bit crazy. And so when I finally have time, I'm usually like just scatterbrained. So sometimes my prep gets crapped on all week until like a couple hours before, and it's interrupted with a boatload of questions for the kids, which I'm not complaining about any of that. Just that I get some anxiety sometimes about the prep and not having enough, and I feel pretty comfortable with the role play. Not because I feel like I have some amazing set of skills, but just because my players are so supportive and understanding. And if I screw something up, I know they're not going to be like, take advantage of it. B, like, they'll give me a fun hard time, not like an actual hard time. And it doesn't happen too often. So that's good. I'd also like to add that, like, with my first campaign, I had a lot of anxiety and I didn't realize it. This is, of course, I have anxiety. I have major anxiety. And before I was getting that treated, when I had this first campaign, I hadn't realized like how toxic it had become, and I spent like at least 6 to 8 months dealing with this incredibly toxic group. And being knee deep in like, because there's a lot of like to my face, not so much, but then elsewhere, yes. And so I just put myself through a lot more than I needed to because of my anxiety during that time. And also because I wasn't treating it, I didn't realize it was that bad or that it was a thing in my life until a little bit after that. But it was a good 6 to 8 months, and what I did to rectify that was nothing healthy during that time. I remember sharing my frustrations with others, and people goes to me and I'm saying, "Hey, this sounds kind of toxic, Dan. Maybe you want to reconsider." But it's like, no. I mean, I think maybe they're my friends, and they're just this and that. And I like D&D, and we've got this fun thing we built. A lot of those things you tell yourself. So ultimately, it's like, okay, hand wiping when I got a grip on it. They're all done. Like, clearly you don't want to play them. So I guess I'd also just put that out there. If you find yourselves, as a side note, in a group or with a DM, if you're a player and you have a DM, if you find yourself in a group, by the way, that is toxic, feel free to share your concerns with people close to you that give you a point of view outside of the situation. If it's a DM you can trust and it's other players you're struggling with, bring it to the DM. It's so important to talk and figure it out, and it's okay to leave. It's okay to leave. There are other games, other people, other situations you can get into. And that's my little mental health note for the day, because I knew all that stuff. Knew it, but did not do it. Is anyone else going to answer that, or did I just like shoot it in the head there?
No, you did good. I think you were the last one.
Yeah, you were
to
the
answer,
last one.
So you're fine.
Good. Well, now that I've kicked that dead horse, and move on to the next question. So sorry.
It was a unicorn pony, and we're all crying over here.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the unicorn ponies were adorable. Okay, a horsey to all. Have you, or would you ever steal from other media for ideas?
Yes.
Nice. I like to take stuff for inspiration. I don't like to take anything directly. But I'll look for inspiration on Google. I'll ask Google Sensei, hey, give me some things regarding this setting or this lore or these images. Sometimes I'll pull a whole story out of a picture I see online. But that's me. Vic, how about you?
Yes,
shooting the question over to you.
Yeah, it depends on the setting. Actually, the setting that we would have played in, because I don't know if everyone knows the story, but I gave Dan 2 settings to choose from since I was really making the campaign for him.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So had it been the other setting, there would have been more media influence in that one than there would have been in this one, which was a rework of the Dark Sun setting, but with Astra Lenore. But actually, the media that I take from most for the Obsidian Scar specifically is history. I was a history major. I love reading and yeah, it's all stuff from history that has just been reworked to include ye old Starbucks.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even believe that I forgot about that whole other thing.
Yeah. Maybe sometime it'll be like a little short. Maybe we'll do like a little short thing in there. You know, it's much darker and much yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dystopian. You know, almost anti-magic. Yeah, it was dark. It was not the Obsidian Scar.
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, that's so awesome. Okay, how about you, Steph?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of take inspiration from a lot of things, and I think pretty much any DM does in ways. Or at least especially if you're creating your own world. I use Pinterest a lot, and so sometimes like I'll just like search Pinterest and like see really cool images and be like, yes, this is what it looks like, or oh my gosh, yes, this is going to be, you know. And I even have like buildings or like things saved in like a Pinterest file, like that I'll go through sometimes every week or every other week and be like, okay, what can I use from this, and like where they're going, like, you know, the places I have set up for them next. So yeah, that, and like I think, although the Forsaken completely, the world that I think, like as I started creating it, like it completely morphed from this, but like my first idea for the Forsaken setting was actually based off of an indie video game from Supergiant called Pyre. And that was my first inspiration. And so, which is like Pyre, it's been a while since I played it, but like these characters are kind of taken from the top world, the actual world, and kind of are thrown into this pit to fight each other. Like it's more of a sport, kind of like it kind of plays off of almost like sports playing, but anyways. And so I was like, oh yeah, like they'll be, you know, having to like, you know, they'll start off in this city, which was kind of was originally barren, supposed to be this like, you know, where people have to fight each other to survive, and there's this pit that they have to fight in order to get out of the city. And but then like other things happen, I think, like because I had, and actually the idea for the floating cities was actually a story idea that me and my friend came up with about 2 or 3 years ago, about these floating cities that were powered by crystals, that were powered by mages.
Nice.
And so I kind of took that and kind of transferred it to the Forsaken, and that kind of overtook the whole video game like inspiration that I had at first. So yeah, I mean, like I'm definitely not above like using like source books like Andrew does for his campaign, or I take inspiration from a lot of things, which I think I might realize that more because I'm an artist, and I know that like inspiration comes from everywhere. So like
And Andrew, your answer was is there any more than the yes?
There is. Look, especially if you're going to just start DMing and you're going to start with one-shots, pick a setting that you love. Whether that's a setting you're already really familiar with, be that Harry Potter world, be that Barbara Jordan's Wheel of Time, you know, whatever. Just pick a setting, run with it, something you already know. That stuff is fuel for DMing, and it might start as a as like kind of an imitation thing, but it's rapidly going to turn into something that isn't. Because of everything we've already talked about how unpredictable players are. So, you know, yes, borrow, blatantly steal, all of it, because it's going to become part of something that is unique. It's not going to be the same at the end. as what it is when you brought it in the beginning.
Nice. That's so true. Yep. All right. Yeah.
Don't be shy.
Yeah. Awesome. Woo! All right, we've got a question, a multi-question from M to all. How do I want to handle this? Want to read them all off? Okay. What I'll do is I'll read them all off, and you can choose like which, if all or.
I separated each question by line.
Okay. Yeah, or we can go down one at a time. Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right. So, from M to all, what is your favorite moment in your respective campaigns so far? Least favorite moment? Let's start with that. Yeah, your favorite moment and least favorite moment. Let's start with Andrew this time around. Steph.
What's even happened in the campaign, guys?
That's true. That's when you started.
It's all been magical and wonderful fuzzies.
Nice.
No, I think my favorite, one of my more favorite moments was when they decided not to kill the family of goblins and try to find a peaceful solution, because I don't think they've quite caught on yet just how much decisions like that are going to impact things later.
Right.
So,
Okay.
you know, I mean, their decision to like intimidate the shit out of them to get what they wanted is also going to have implications. So, you know, it's like,
okay, nice.
That's all I got. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. How about you, Vic?
I'm getting. Can we skip to Steph? I will answer in a sec. I'm just trying to grab Coffee Man's question.
Okay.
Vic's just running a stream, Dan. Excuse me.
Yeah. If I'm not looking at the screen, assume that I'm not. You know.
That's when I'm going to pick on you. Yeah. No.
I guess it was favorite and least favorite moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the campaign. With the Forsaken, I think I would probably say my favorite moment probably be the whole city thing, and just that like none of you guys, so you say, didn't even realize until you stepped through the portal into the orphanage, the charity house, that the city was going down. That's really interesting to me. And as a DM, like, that was my favorite moment, because it's like, oh wow, okay, so I actually pulled this off. Cool.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't die, so, which was a huge possibility. You basically had 10, for those watching, they had 10 rounds to get out. I didn't tell them that, but they went through 6 before they stepped through the portal, so 4 more rounds, and 2 more rounds they probably would have started getting some hurt really badly, and then in 4 rounds it would have been done. All new characters.
Oh my gosh.
Least favorite. That's really hard.
Also, when you killed the city.
That was rough, man. I guess least favorite. I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess maybe that you guys didn't utilize the city that I built session 1. I know I keep going back to that, but I mean,
it's a sore point, I get it.
Hashtag not bitter.
That's probably my least favorite part right there. And now it's like all for naught. Absolutely all for naught. So.
See, but think of how connected and you are to that moment when this beautiful thing you created was just, and all those people were just destroyed.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Awesome. All right, Vic, since it looks like you're not looking away.
Well, yeah, for the first time. I'm ignoring chat for a minute. Favorite moment in my campaign so far.
And least
favorite. I have so many favorite moments from our campaign so far, because I love to laugh, and you guys make me laugh so hard. I mean, obviously like once a night I'm like literally falling over in my chair because I need to hide my face in laughter. So
yes,
I think I really did enjoy the fact that the unicorn ponies were just supposed to be this moment that it was like, oh, look at these like beautiful things that are in this strange world that we're in, and it caused a 3 or 4 episode detour, a huge fight amongst the PCs. It was like your own side quest that was just supposed to be like, look at that tree over there. So that was a good one.
Yes.
Least favorite has to be when Pepino died, right? Because I'm like in tears on stream, not being able. I mean, not that he did it to himself, but he knew. Emilio knew what he was getting into, and both as a player and as a PC. The PC had the information that they should not have gone into that fight, and chose to do it anyway. But that doesn't make it any less hard as the DM that you outright killed a character.
Yeah,
that's gotta be it. Sorry to be the bummer.
No. Dan?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Favorite moments? I'll start with I'll stay on the drag movement here with the least favorite. Definitely the character deaths. Some I feel like are a little more set up for disaster, and it's still very sad. There are others where I feel like they wouldn't expect it, like Mina, who had just moderately recently joined the crew, had spent enough time there to start making some connections and everything, and then got disintegrated in that fight.
Yeah.
And that really, really, stings to watch it. And poor Ed. I mean, Ed technically died. Felix technically died and was brought back early on. And then he was petrified in that fight. So when things like go really sideways for the group, and everyone's like, that's always like, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. Things like that, I think. Favorite moments? Oh, geez. Okay, Kaylin stuffing that body in the shrub, still one of my favorites. With a little girl waving at her like, who are you? Like seeing Kaylin stuffing a little gnome body, or goblin or gnome, whatever it was, in her backyard. Definitely going to be the BBEG. Let's see, what else? I don't know. There's a lot of across the campaigns. Because Kears has had a bunch. I think the favorite moments overall, big, huge favorite moments of crossover still. There's just something about them that brings me pure joy. That's my answer. Woo! All right, Coffee Man asks wait, I got everybody, didn't I? I'm not skipping anyone, am I? Okay. Woo. All right, Coffee Man asks to all, what is your underdog favorite for race and setting? Okay, that's an interesting one. Yeah. Steph, what you got?
What is my underdog favorite for race and for setting?
Sorry, race and setting. My bad.
Race and setting.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know exactly what is considered underdog. I mean, I know the term underdog, but I mean, like, I don't know, like, as far as
slept on. Wait, what's
go.
Who sleeps at? What
not,
do
not
people
frequently
sleep on?
who.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is I don't know exactly like what I don't know like what usually people in D&D would consider like an underdog class.
Oh, I see. In context.
I guess like maybe like I mean I have, and then like also compared to what I've played, like I mean I guess Goblin. I really enjoyed playing Goblin for a while. And yeah. And I guess you don't see too many people playing goblins. I mean it's not like elf, human, or like anything like that. And I guess also a lot of people, I mean, I haven't played one, but actually, like, I would kind of like to sometime. And I know that Barath has a special place in his heart for the human race in D&D. Like, I think a lot of people kind of step on this sometimes because you have all these other possibilities. So it's like, well, why would I go with human?
Yeah.
But also, I think there's something interesting about that because then you usually have like all non-humans in your group, and then you have the one, you know, sometimes the one or two humans that are, you know,
Jules.
I
Nice.
Former Derek.
and setting.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer to
one.
that. Yeah, I don't think that, at least right now. Maybe once I hear everyone else's answers, maybe I'll have a better answer, or an answer.
Vic, is now a good time? Can I jump to you?
Yeah, that's fine. Online play better. Ooh, race and setting. I don't know. I think. Okay, I'm gonna cheat and change the question a little bit. Instead of my favorite underdog race, I'm gonna say my favorite underdog class, subclass. Although I rarely play it. I think everybody sleeps on knowledge clerics. They're an interesting combination. They give you a lot of stuff without making you be a wizard. They are great for multi-class dips because of, you know, all of the expertise and the cool, you know, learning shit. And I really love dipping that with a monk. Kind of like a Cobalt Soul-y thing without going Cobalt Soul. So, yeah. And setting? Ooh. I know, setting is tough. I don't know if I have a setting one. Sorry.
No problem, no problem.
Yep.
Andrew, how about you?
I think a race that is immensely fun to play, that you don't see too many people playing, are kobolds. Highly recommend.
Oh, yeah.
2'8". Innately suspicious of other people. It's fantastic. Technically all lawful evil, which is also very interesting. And you worship dragons. What can go wrong? Yeah, kobolds are fascinating. So I vote for that. In terms of, I'm going to skip over at class 2. Because why not? In terms of class, I honestly think one of the one that I actually haven't seen played much in my experience with 5e until more recently. So maybe it's not an underdog anymore. But lore bards are amazing.
They're my favorite.
Probably, I think, the best spellcasters in the entire system. So good.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah. Do you know how hard it was for me to not make Maeve a lore bard? Seriously. I had to. I was like, Victoria, you always play lore bards. You have to walk away. Make her a glamour bard.
I'm glad there are other people that recognize the
Lore
benefits
bards
of
so
lore
much.
bards. They're so phenomenal.
So good. The best.
Learn spells from any class just because?
Yeah,
why not?
Wow,
Sure.
really?
Oh, it's fantastic.
So good.
Just look at it. It's the magical secrets are the coolest. And then in terms of setting, I actually really, 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 really like the Dark Sun setting.
Okay.
An Atlas, or Athos, I should say, which is like it's a post-apocalyptic D&D kind of like, what would happen if like D&D was Borderlands?
Okay.
And magic kind of sucked, and and the sun was a red giant, and it's just such an interesting setting. It's a very interesting setting. So
nice.
I now know who my first call is when we do that, because that's Dark Sun was what that other one was based on. So yeah, I know who to call first.
Oh, okay, nice. Awesome. All right. Oh, for me, I don't know. Underdog race. I don't know. In my head, I have I don't know what's okay, like an actual race and what's homebrew, because I look at so many homebrew ones. I think that as far as just being cool, I like Shadow Kai. I don't know if that. I guess that's more of a. I don't know if that's a race or a class.
It is, yeah. It's a sub race.
Right. Okay.
Elven sub race.
Let's see. You know what? I was very pleasantly surprised when Mort came on board as a deep gnome, because I don't think I've seen many folks play the deep gnome. Yeah, drow. Yep, honey. Yep, that deep gnome. Campaigns. I'm sorry. Settings. I don't know. Again, because I haven't played them. I've read a lot in the different settings. Greyhawk and but I haven't actually played them. The only published campaign setting I played is Lost Mines of Phandelver, and I ran it for my kids, which was fun. So I'll say that.
I need to send you lots of setting stuff.
Nice. Thaxel, while she's still here. Thaxel to all. Is there a piece of advice you would like to give us players? Let me get Vic while she's not doing
stuff. Yes. It's actually kind of something we already touched on, but talk to your DM, give them feedback. And I'm not talking, I think everyone here would agree. It's nice when you just tell us that you had a good time or you enjoyed something that, is like the best feedback ever. But, talk to your DM, let them know things that you're enjoying, things that, I've had players that are like, I just need a little bit more combat in my life. I need, I need a little bit of clarity about what's going on with my character so that I can, play off of it. So giving your DM feedback, it'll make your game better.
Definitely. Andrew? Any thoughts?
I think the biggest thing for me is in combat. Describe what you're doing. Do not rely on the mechanics behind what you're doing. Please role play it. Please. I know it's so tempting to treat it just like a video game where you're pressing A and that's or a hotkey and you're casting that ability and it's going to do this much damage. Please.
Right.
Please continue role playing in battle. It makes it so much more fun. It really, really does. I don't mind describing what you did for you, but it's so much better when you describe what you did. All of us. And just right alongside that, get creative in battle. For all my players that are out there watching, I reward creativity in combat. Why not? Yes, I ran up to them and I hit them with my sword. Yeah, okay, you killed them. You did the thing you wanted to do. But why didn't you, I don't know, try to do an acrobatics check to jump off the wall that was next to them so you could get up a little higher and come down a little harder? I don't know.
Do a barrel roll, yeah.
We're playing an imaginative role-play game. Use your imaginations in combat, too. Please. It makes it more interesting for people to watch, and it makes it more interesting for us DMs to run.
Awesome. Definitely adds a lot of flavor and a lot of fun.
Yes.
Just even, just to tag on to that, I've got a different thought for an answer, but just to tag on to that, even the other night there was which was Curious Lament. So some, and not that I'm saying it's bad if you don't. And I don't know, neither is Andrew, I'm sure, but adding that definitely adds so much flavor, and you can get rewarded. Like Deontay the other night, Marcon was at the ball, this big gala, and he role played out instead of being like, I'm going to try and convince her that I'm a merchant. okay, roll for it. He like did this whole spiel. It was so convincing. Like, yeah, okay, I maybe I can't remember if I actually even had him roll them, but everyone was like, no, that's good. Yeah, no, you're good. It was so amazing. It lowers the DC so drastically. So in combat, even in the role play, if you just plop yourself in the character's position and just play it out, it adds a lot to the game. I think you'll find it's tricky to get into that mindset at first for newer players, I think, but once you do, you really enjoy it, I think. Let's see. So we got Vic, we got Andrew. Yeah.
What was that, Dan? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's your yeah? If there is a piece of advice you can give us players,
I think kind of going off of that is also while describing combat, but also like describing like skill checks. Because I know that sometimes like people will ask for skill check or like be like, well, I wouldn't do this skill check. I want to do, an I just want to roll an investigation check, to look for this thing. And like when they're in a room and you're like, okay, well, but how are you looking? Like, are you looking in drawers? Are you looking in boxes? Are you looking over shelves? Are you looking under cushions? Like, how deep is this investigation going? And I mean, usually like I'll just ask, like Monday, I'll usually just ask you guys like, okay, well, how are you doing this? Like, you want to do a medicine check? How are you doing the medicine check? What are you checking? Yeah, I would say
The medicine.
that, and just to as players to I know it's easier for some people than others to role play, but just to try to interact with your fellow players and to play off of them and to not you have two ends of the spectrum. You have people who have and they have trouble, and that's fine, but just even like stepping into conversations and talking to people, or or when the group is having a conversation, to put in your character's 2 cents. You have that side, but then you also have the side of people who try to steamroll the conversations or steamroll things and try to make it all about their character. So it's a give and it's a take of contributing, but also not like but allowing other people to contribute as well.
Yeah. The balance can be tricky, especially if you're excited. And of course I'm saying yeah, Ken. I'm thinking of all the times I'm like, yeah, hey, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Here's my character. Yeah. But it takes time, which I think is a good segue to my piece that I've been thinking of. That is communication. And it sounds, I mean, everyone hears it, right? Obviously, communication is important. But taking the time, I feel like a lot of people are very forgiving of other incidents or forgiving, which is fine. That's great. But you also want to communicate that. If you're feeling like you are either something's affecting your character, maybe someone's saying something about your character that's kind of hurtful, and maybe more hurtful, it's in character, but it's not, bring it to your DM, bring it to the person. If you feel like you're having a frustration with the setting, like, okay, I like this setting, I was envisioning more of this, can I, just sharing with your DM feelings doesn't have to have a resolution per se, but just be sharing, and DM can share some expectations back, or player to player. Most certainly things like consent with any dating. I mean, this is, of course, I'm talking about our streams, but just in general, I think it's a great idea, obviously, to not just hit on other characters without being like, hey, are you cool with my... Sometimes it comes up and you can send a quick message, or you do it and then you like, hope that was all right.
Yeah.
Or you just don't do it, like the regular thing can be an issue. And the positives, like, hey, I love what you did. That was so flipping cool, and just that communication piece, both in the constructive negative and the positive, I think is important.
Yeah.
So saith Dan. Just kidding.
So say we all.
Yes. That's the last thing you said. That's so great.
Can I tell you, we said that we had everybody say that at our wedding as like after we said our vows, we had everyone say, and we like looked out into the group and you could see half of them smiling under their breath and the other half were like, oh, that's just a nice thing to say. And it was like, yeah.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah. Oh, what a nice way
awesome.
to say that. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to say we can take another question or two.
I got you down to a handful on there.
Okay, neat. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we'll save the rest, for what we got next week, right? And other ones that can have us over. All right, Coffee Man, to all. What is a hanging side quest you really want to go back to? Ooh, Andrew. Because of that expression. Go for it.
Oh, wait, what was the question? Was the question about side quests?
Is this as a player
Wow.
or is this as a DM?
Yeah, I'll say either, right? Unless you have a specification, Coffee Man.
Well, as a player, there are several threads I'd like to go back and explore. I'd really like to go back to where the Bornheim, where this queen's killing all of her citizens in an effort to try to resurrect her husband or whatever, or gain the favor of some obscure local deity. Yeah, the Great One. Love to follow up with that. Love to follow up with the bloody rag in front of the mirror that was in the castle. I feel like there was just a lot there we didn't explore because Steph was rushing us to get to.
Oh, come on. Don't even believe it.
Nope.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm teasing. And now Steph's going to get it intentionally start
entering everything.
Yeah.
Oh, clickety clack.
G-rail. Yeah. Ooh, shiny. Yeah, no, and but as a DM, I think the one of the more interesting things that has already happened, and no one knows that these are side quests yet, but every NPC that our characters meet are people that they can choose to develop relationships with long term, and I'm very interested to see how that pans out in the long run.
Interesting.
Yeah, every NPC,
Nice.
even your waiter.
Oh, that's right.
There's potential there because eventually you guys are going to have a home base and you're going to need to hire people for certain things. And
right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Great.
Very
I
interesting.
think Azil wants to develop a long-term relationship with that redheaded woman that talked to him in the outside the image.
Go ahead. Try.
No, she's scaring me. She's evil, and I don't want to. Steph, how about you? Any hanging side quests you really want to go back to?
As a DM, I, for the Forsaken, God, I feel like that this is like giving stuff. Like I have to tread really carefully and not give stuff away, because you guys do have a lot of different things like that you've touched in but didn't dive into. You just kind of were like, oh, I'm just gonna like tug at this thread a bit, but instead of pulling it, you just went on to another thread.
Nice.
I guess I'm kind of have to agree, go along with, oh gosh. Man, really there's a lot going through my head right now. I think, as it stands right now, I would say, and of what you guys have interacted with, I would say that I would be I'm interested to see you guys interact with Bornheim again at some point.
That's cool.
Slash
I want to go back there. Yeah.
break into Juanita's old lab.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right, out there,
thing.
yeah.
And then we can
who's
have
guarding it now?
an army of automatons.
Wow. Nice.
Amazing.
As we conquer
Sweet
floating
summer
cities.
children.
We'll just go back to and nothing can go wrong. It all went wrong.
What could possibly happen?
Vic, how about you? Any lingering?
Yeah. As a DM, well, I mean, there's so many that you don't realize that you just blew past. So,
Right?
Yeah.
I feel the same.
We need to get bacon. Yeah.
So, right. We want to role play standing in line at the crepe shop. You have an entire fucking city of 16,000 NPCs, and you want to roleplay standing in line at the crepe shop. I will say that I am excited for, you'll have to eventually do it, so I don't think it's too spoilery. I'm excited for when you guys finally go back to Harassa, because it's in the middle of being rebuilt.
Yeah.
You have all sorts of threads there. You've got to, you're going to have to deal with the assembly when you get back. There's a deed with your name on it, for a building that, so there's a lot of juicy stuff when you guys finally make your way back here. So, yeah.
Nice.
Exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm also eager to get back there. I didn't realize that we would have had enough time to go there before coming here.
I mean, I literally
My
said 2
dumbass
months
brain
more
was
than
like-
once, but
Yeah, I know
none
you
of
did.
you-
Yeah, it's a thing, I guess.
you guys never
You
listen to
gotta get
anything
out
I
there,
say,
but
so it
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Nope. I'm so sorry, man.
That's all right.
Let's see. Lingering thingamabobs. Okay. Side quests. There's so many. So very many on the DM side of things. So many. Geez, I don't know. So much has already been put in motion. I can't think of anything that's be juicy. I'd want you to go back to now. Everything's kind of passed. So I guess as a player, Lennox would like to go back to that cave, little leveled up, but go back to that cave and see what was further down in that. It's driving me nuts.
No.
We didn't go back, get to go further.
Yeah.
Is this time warpy thing?
there.
We saw a vision of Elzar or something. I'm like, what's down here? It's got to be important.
Lennox might die, isn't he?
Well, I think we'll take this. We'll stop at this point. It's a good stopping point. It's almost midnight. Yeah, that's a good solid 2-hour session of Madbird Squawks. That's
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
I'll give a quick rundown of our schedule. I'm supposed to have a schedule, Vic, to pop up to you.
Oh, I do. And
Okay,
just so if anyone is worried while I'm getting this up, don't worry. Any questions that were not asked tonight, I will put them in Squawks for later sessions. So
We will get to you.
there you go. Schedule
Ooh,
up.
so thank you all so much. Thank you, Vic, for being here and watching us. And thank you, fellow DMs, for being here to answer your questions. Everything. That was a lot of fun. You've been watching, for anyone new, and well, for everyone here, I guess, we've been watching Madbird Squawks. We stream every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's 11:30 tonight. We don't have any streams on Thursday currently. Friday night, you can catch Stormfall every Friday night, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern. Stormfall. A lot of drama, high drama, one might say. Campaign, lots of feels. Every Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m., you can catch Tower of Dreams at Andrew DMs. They'll be on episode 3 this week, so get on the ground floor, as it were, and check out the awesome action over there. It's really fun, definitely different take on D&D. Check it out. Every Sunday night, every Sunday night you can catch Vic DMing of City in the Scar. 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern every Sunday, and that's our Proper Naughty campaign. Excuse me. Every Monday night you can catch Steph DMing The Forsaken. Of course, you probably heard plenty about the campaigns here tonight as we've answering questions. And then every Tuesday night, our All Evil campaign, Tears Lament. I also want to give a proper shout out to Tabletop Gaming Network that has accepted us into the fold. We are now part of the Tabletop Gaming Network stream team. And so with that, big hurrah, it's a really awesome stream team. I think we're going to go ahead and quickly rate. So I'd ask you to, if you have at least a few minutes, to please consider sticking around, so we can go support one of the our sister channels here and check out what they're up to. I'm going to go rate Happy Jacks RPG. Let's see how it goes. So thank you all so much. Have a phenomenal night, and we'll catch you Friday night for some intense Stormfall. Yep, the Festival of Quartz is over. Now it's go time. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, we're off.